There.
Hey dreamers!
3, 2. Hey dreamers! It's Maya and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for this video today because I've been wanting to do more talk videos where we talk about real shit, and it's 2019, so I really want to just kind of grab the reins on doing that and bringing more real shit to my YouTube channel, because this is about embodying, this year is about embodying the things that I want myself and my brand and my YouTube channel to be. So I have Deja with me here today, and she's going to be, what, like, interviewing me?
Interviewing for a Stephen's Life magazine story.
So basically, catch me on the cover of a magazine for a college here in Columbia, Missouri. I'm popping.
She's popping.
This is the cloud. This is the cloud I've been trying to manifest, basically. But yeah, we're gonna dive into some real topics, and all you guys out there watching, this is obviously for you. Make sure you stay till the end. Click that like button and subscribe, and let's get into it.
Well, I want to start off by like asking you just like background stuff, just so I have that in the story. Okay, Miss Maya, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Peoria, Illinois, born and raised, basic town, just a basic town.
So, how is your like family life?
Well, my parents got divorced when I was 2, and my mom ended up moving to New York. My dad got remarried real quick, and I mean, this is how it's gonna come out, you know what I'm saying? It's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault, because everybody loves and raises people to their capacity, but you know, I always considered myself Cinderella. I didn't really think, my stepmom didn't really fuck with me at all.
Yeah,
didn't really fuck with me or my sisters, really. My dad worked a lot. My dad worked a shit ton because he wanted to provide us with a great life as far as like material things. So that's what he did. He worked his ass off. I didn't really see him very much, and when I did, I was just kind of scared of him. He's kind of a big guy, and doesn't have much like emotional anything. So
you guys never had that like connection?
No, we never talked about anything. It was like hi bye, like literally never ever talked. Like I would write him letters and like put him under his door, because like conversations just like were not had. Like my parents were everyone else's parents. Like I went to all my friends' households. I basically stayed at any friend's house. I called everybody else's mom. I just was just a free spirit. I just made a shit ton of friends and just kind of did that. Yeah.
I feel that. That's the same with my parent, or my dad. There's like hardly any, we don't really connect on emotional levels, but I mean, we check in on each other.
And I didn't have like some heart-wrenching like childhood story where everything was terrible and stuff. Like my dad was nicest to me, but he definitely just used a lot. He cussed a lot. Like if we would do anything like minor, it was just like, you're getting cussed out, like you're getting threatened, and you're just like, he's gonna put the fear of God in you, basically. And so I kind of, that fear of men was kind of like instilled in me, like this fear of men, like not wanting to bother men, or not wanting to, just not wanting to bug them or anything like that. A lot of unworthiness stems from that. Okay,
so it was not only like, there was no, well, there was communication, but when there was communication, it was like,
basic violent communication. Oh, that is so interesting. That is so interesting. That's why the communication conversations are so hard, because I'm not used to communicating with them. All right,
backtrack.
Yeah. Oh, that was an aha.
That was an aha. You sound like Oprah.
I know, that's not me. Yeah.
That's so crazy, because that's the same with both of us. I have a hard time talking to men because I didn't really talk to my dad growing up. So. So how many, you have siblings, right? How many?
So I have 3 sisters. I'm the youngest. Star is my stepsisters, and then I have 2 older who are my real sisters, whatever. They're all my sisters. Candace and Holly. Yeah.
Okay. What are some major lessons you think you've learned from being a sibling and from having siblings?
The lessons that I've learned from them are being learned right now. More so than back then. I'm at a place in life too where I moved away from all of the stuff that I was used to. I moved 5 hours away. They never really moved away. And so it's just really interesting now, knowing everything that I know now and observing the way that they act and behave and their patterns now is so clear to me that I just want to like take all their pain away from them and like show them like, this is why this is happening, like, and that's not, you know, you can't force that stuff on people, but they're definitely just like, they're like living experiments that I can observe from the outside and say like the childhood trauma thing, the patterns that we create as children is real as fuck, and I can and it's like, it's cool knowing that, and so I learn from them and constantly reminding myself when my patterns come up, like, look at your sisters, like, like, let's realize like the truth about the situation. So I get to, like I said, learn from them, like at their expense still.
And the last background question is, what are your hobbies?
What aren't my hobbies? My hobbies, YouTube for sure. Dance is a new thing that I'm really obsessed with. Yes. I don't consider myself a model, but I love taking great pictures for Instagram and having a great Instagram feed. That's a fucking hobby of mine. I love reading. I've been writing a book for 5 years. I want to get into singing this year. I sing my ass off in my car in my shower, and I think I'm popping, so I kind of want to see where it goes. And slaying is probably the hobby I do the most.
Yes. Yeah. You do slay. Okay, so now we're gonna break into the good stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of content on your profiles about like personal growth, and spirituality. So, so what made you become so interested in teaching yourself and encouraging and like preaching to others like the importance of personal growth?
I would just say my own pain really motivated me. I just feel like my spiritual growth like journey started about 5 years ago now, and I feel like the way it came up was just because I was in so much pain. I think the universe was like, dude, she's about to let go, like, come on. So I really honestly truly believe like the more you're suffering, great. Because the answers are going to come if you desire them to. Like, there's a difference between just like being depressed and like wallowing in it and actually desiring to live a life that's better. And ever since I was like a little girl, like I always knew that I was going to do great things. I always knew I was going to, like, literally as a kid, I knew I was going to have some crazy story. And when that started to develop, I was like, oh shit, this is real life. Yeah. So I went through, like, I mean, I had my childhood stuff, whatever, that affects my patterns and the way I behave and the way I interact with other people, but a lot of my pain was self-inflicted. A lot of my actual real pain and depression came from the decisions I started making when I turned, like, 17, 18, like, getting into some crazy scenes, like stripping and learning that drugs were actually real and people actually did them, and, like, woo! So yeah, I just hit kind of a bunch of rock bottoms, and then just those little baby steps. Like, you know how everyone starts out, like, with the whole, like, positive affirmation thing. Like, let's have, like, a positive talk, and it was all about, like, having positive thoughts. Yeah, it all just started with me, like, just, like, the positive talks. Like, everything's, like, staying positive. But now, like, once you get way up there, it's like, no, feel everything. Yeah. But, yeah, it just kind of started because of my own pain. Like, I really think that my journey started because I was in so much pain, and I think the answers start to come once you've had enough. Yeah. And then the answers, like, begin to come. Like, everything wasn't perfect overnight. Like I said, this is a 5-year thing. Right. But, yeah, it really started once I absolutely hit rock bottom, and I was, like, it was starting to feel better. It was kind of like a fake it till you make it thing. Yeah. So you start that journey and it starts to feel better, but it just keeps progressing. I feel like the universe, like, takes cues, and you can only take in what you're ready for. So it couldn't, like, 5 years ago, if you would have hit me with, like, an Eckhart Tolle fucking podcast, I wouldn't have been able to reciprocate it at all. So it's all a journey, and it just starts when you are really fucking low.
Can we trace it back to the first year 1 of 5? What was that like? Where were you?
So I moved here when I was like 18 or some shit, and I moved here and I started working at Club Vogue, and I was stripping there for like 2 years, and I was an alcoholic, like way alcoholic, before I even was 21. Like, I was drinking like a bottle to myself at night at work. And I got introduced to cocaine, which I literally didn't even know people actually did cocaine until I moved here. Like, that's how naive I was about drugs. So, went down that hole. Yeah, and like, you know, along with that, you start trying all other stuff. And I could feel in my spirit it was time for me to like leave that whole lifestyle, but you know, you don't listen to those voices, so then life gets to like hit you across the head, and like I got arrested and I went to jail, and I was like, okay, like this is not me. Like, can you imagine me in jail? No. Can you imagine
the Maya today?
Are you kidding me? So I sat in that freaking cell and I was like, no. So I quit the club and I started working in childcare, and then I met this guy at this Panera Bread who was like, what's your dream? And I was like, what the fuck did you just ask me?
Yeah.
It's like, well, like, what's your dream? I'm like, I don't know. So it really started to change for me. Like, I went to this seminar, and I was real putting it off at first, but there was like one where like they encourage you to get saved. Like, Jesus Christ saved. And I did one time, man. I was just bawling. Like, oh my gosh, got saved. I'm like, ooh, I'm a new woman. God, Jesus Christ, let's do this. So yeah, I went to the seminar and I got saved by Terry Savelle Foy. What's up, girl? She was looking like an angel up there. I was like, woo. So yeah, I got that. That's awesome. That's how the whole spirituality thing. But yeah, that was just like the beginning stages. But yeah, I went to Mizzou for one semester, and I hated it. I hated it. It's not even that, like, nothing really even happened. I was just bored, and my spirit, and like I didn't even know what it was, but I had a strong feeling that was like, you need to stop as soon as possible. So after winter break, I was like, I'm not going back. It was just an intuition decision that I made and stuck with. Yeah. And I just knew it wasn't for me. I just knew if I'm ever gonna go back, it's gonna be when I'm rich as fuck already. So I just knew that my story was gonna be. It's not harder or easier than anyone else's. Like, you stick out 4 or 5 years of college, that's fucking hard. For me to make a career, make a dream come true also in 4 or 5 years is also hard. It's just you gotta decide what hard you want to do.
I want to break down your like hard years, like what made it so hard, like what was your mindset back then? Did you feel like you had to strip? Was that whole like industry, like was that the hard part?
After a while, I just feel like it started taking its toll on me, because it's just not really my true spirit. I felt like I was exercising my ability to manipulate people very well. I felt like I was exercising my ability to seduce someone, and exercising all these abilities to do things that that didn't resonate with me. And so if you're having thoughts like that about doing something, you continue to do it, of course it's going to be hard. And people ask me today all the time, like, would you suggest stripping or not? I'm like, I don't really know. But what I do know is your perspective and your intentions about everything are everything. So if you're going to go into anything, just make sure your intentions and your perspective is clear about it before you cause yourself some emotional turmoil. So it was hard for me because I knew I didn't want to do it anymore. It was hard for me because I knew I wanted to do something else. Yeah. Something that I perceived as better. Okay. But nothing is really better or worse.
True.
It's very neutral about things.
All a perspective.
Yeah, I'm very neutral about things now.
Talking to myself and I.
Making myself crazy.
In what ways do you maintain the perspective that you wish to have?
I want to wake up every day and do things that I love, and I want to wake up every day and live my life intentionally and have a huge hand in the creation process. I just want my life to be literally an experiment that the world is basically your playground, and I just don't want to grow up and be this grown-up adult thing that is just operating on autopilot all the time. So I consciously, intentionally wake up every day when I want to, and there's like some discipline that comes with that. There's certain things that come with that, but like at the end of the day, I want to do what I love every day. What that could be anything. And if I want to rest, I want to rest. If I want to party, I want to party. If I want to spend time with another human being and work on a connection, then that's important to me.
Because when you feel yourself slipping or not being yourself or the person you hope to be in certain situations, what helps you bounce back to basically the ego is what
yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
How do you
step out of the ego?
Yeah.
Well, first, and this is what Eckhart Tolle always says, it's like, first of all, it's observing that you're operating from your ego. Like, that's the biggest thing, and how you know you're operating from your ego. Like, I literally wrote it down. Like, when I'm operating, I wrote about living my life. Yeah, it was a T-chart, and I did what it feels and looks like when I'm operating from my ego, and what it feels and looks like when I'm operating from my true self. When I'm in my ego, I'm jealous, I'm hurt, I'm petty, I'm depressed, I'm unworthy, my stomach hurts. You feel like you have the shits, you want to lash out, you want people to be seen, you want to be validated. All of that stuff is from your pain body. And when I'm operating from my true self, I'm just good. And that doesn't mean happy-go-lucky, I'm on a fucking rainbow, but maybe I'm calm. Content. Yeah. Or, you know, grateful, gratitude. Stomach doesn't hurt. I want to show people love, whether it's just smiling at someone or just giving out a compliment, or like just something like that. Like, it doesn't have to be like everything's positive and great, but you're good and you can feel it. What I always say is I start to tell myself the truth. So you observe it, you feel it, and then you tell yourself the truth? Yeah, I tell myself the truth about the situation. Like, so if I'm, whatever negative emotion I'm experiencing at that time, I just go in there and start shedding light on it, basically. And I'm like, okay, this is how I'm... This is the ego? Right, yeah. I'm like, so this is how I'm feeling, this is how my ego is feeling, this is how my pain body is feeling. What are some truths I can tell to this hurt part of myself so I can begin to feel better about it? Yeah, and if it's something involving another person, I wait until I'm whole, until I'm good before I communicate with that person. Right. So that I'm not looking for them to make me happy about it. Right. I gotta make myself happy about the situation before I can come in and try and resolve things. Right. Because you're still gonna be searching, reaching, trying to get something from someone. You can get things from people, and people can add to your happiness and stuff, but no one should be the sole source. Like, we are also abundant in everything that we need. It's just cheating yourself to lie to yourself that you need it from someone else. Right. It's just not true. Right. So what do you say pain body a lot. Explain what you mean by your pain body. It's your ego, and it's the part of you that causes you mental suffering. It's the part of you that is suffering. Yeah. It's the part of you, it's the part of you that's suffering. It's not like your authentic self, it's just the ego. And it's usually, the ego comes in form of thoughts, basically. Yeah. And then you can embody those thoughts, and then you act it out, live it out like a play. Like, now that I am aware of my ego, if I'm gonna say something that's from my ego perspective, and sometimes you can't get rid of it, and sometimes you can't say things without it coming up, as long as you're aware of it, though. So I'm like, I named my ego Shigo, which is it's just fucking hilarious. That is. So I'll say something like, if I'll say something that's like very egoic, I'll be like, oh, there goes Shigo, and I don't identify with it. It's like a different person. You get to choose who you want to be. You're either gonna be Shigo or you're gonna be Maya. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So, what does the word resilience mean to you? Resilience basically means don't give up, and that's so funny you just asked me that, because I was driving the other day and I was like, what would it mean to give up? Like, for me, to give up would be me just stop living. Like, I'm already to a place where, like, I do what I basically want every day. Like, granted, I'm not, like, there's things that I want to experience that come with, like, being, like, a successful YouTuber and, like, traveling and, like, things like that. But for me to stop chasing my dreams, like, I'm already living my dreams. Like, it doesn't make a difference whether I have 1,000 subscribers or 1,000,000 subscribers. I decided, I didn't do YouTube to be famous. Like, I decided to do YouTube because I love doing it. And so I'm already doing it. Yeah. And, like, that's what I wanted. Like, if I ever wanted to be a model, okay, great. I'm already doing it. Like, it's just, like, the scale or that people attach to it, like, or the success, if you're successful or not, people attach to it as, like, you're not living your dream. But, like, I really am living my dream right now, and I really feel like that is speeding up the manifestation process. And it takes it's taken years to get to this mental space, but I'm like always very excited, especially now, because I am embodying my worthiness, and like I am embodying the fact that like I'm good right now, and there's nothing that you could give to me or take away from me that would make me better, like that would make me like happier. Like you have to be happy in your now. You gotta be focused on having the right energy and the mindset right now, so that those other things can come in. I'm already successful in my book. Like I wanted true happiness first, and that's what my book is about. True happiness first, and then work on manifesting your dreams and the money and all that stuff. If you get fucking true happiness first and then you get filthy rich, like that's fucking money. Cool. Yeah. And that's what I feel like, that's what the universe wanted to give me. And I feel like that is like my dad has always wanted like material wealth and material success has always been so important to him, and money. Like one very serious conversation we had, it wasn't even a conversation, it was like the longest paragraph or one text he sent to me, and was like, don't chase money, chase happiness. And I was like, if that's one deep thing you're gonna say to me in your whole life, I'm fucking taking it.
Yeah. In that book that I just like referenced, they say how like some kids growing up, their models and the people they surround themselves with, they are resilient and they know how to learn from their mistakes. So therefore the kid is going to reflect that and most likely learn how to adapt and learn things. Yeah. But like some kids also, you know, they have the parents that blame the world for the things that happen to them. Yeah. They blame other people. So therefore the child's going to grow up and, you know, they're not going to want to learn, or they're not going to feel like they have the capacity to learn from their mistakes.
Yeah. I have a tough time with those like stats and stuff like that, because for me, in the way I see just the human experience, like, it doesn't fucking matter. I mean, it contributes, but at the end of the day, at the fucking core of it, any human being is capable of anything. Yeah. Any human being can learn anything. So if you want to attach to your story and go from there, okay, great. But as long as you still realize, no matter what your story is, no matter how you're raised or who is around it, it can still be learned. It can still be done. I've had this fiery spirit since I was a kid. Like, I've always been a sassy ass person. So I really don't know. Like, whether you're born with it or not, great. Anything can be learned. Mm-hmm. So people ask me all the time, like, you know, how do you keep going and stuff like that? And I'm like, well, honestly, it's part of my spirit, but you can learn to be. Yeah. You can do it one time and you can recognize that feels good, and you can keep wanting to feel good, and you can keep doing it, and boom, guess what? You're resilient now. Yeah. Like, to be resilient is just to be. If you're going to be resilient, you need to practice being resilient. Yeah. It's like, you can be born with that, great, but you can also practice it and be it. Yeah. Just like with anything.
How would you define reality? Would you say that reality is our perception?
Yeah, it's just
we decide.
Yeah, it's just your perception. And if at any moment I decided to change my perception about things, then my reality would begin to change around that. And that's why it's such a mindfuck. Like, I'm never going to reverse the things that I've learned, but like, if I wanted to just decide to start being hateful and hate myself and hate my life and give up on my whatever, then things would just begin to change in a different direction. And I would have a hand in that. And I would be, even the realization that I am the hand in that, that's not like my reality. Like, that's the awareness outside of it. Like, I'm the awareness outside of realities. It makes life more enjoyable to think of things that way. Yeah. And it makes life less enjoyable to think of it the opposite way. So the way I think, it's like, okay, if I want to live life in a more enjoyable way, I'm going to choose to perceive life as more enjoyable. I'm kind of like a no-in-between kind of person. I got to choose my truths and believe them. So. I like it. Okay. Well, that wraps it up. We're just so open-minded. We very, very much are. And I love you so much, and you're such a good freaking friend, and it's so cool that we just got so much closer. Deja! The connection. That's awesome. Okay, everybody. Like this stuff. Oh, no. See you guys in the next one. I love you guys so much. Live your best life. I hope everybody learned something from this. Like, we love you. We fucking love you, dreamers. Okay, bye!